Hey, how we doing? So I'm gonna walk through you. The purpose of this video is very simple. The purpose is just to tell you kind of what are the requirements and what am I looking for with this world economy comparison project. So a couple years ago, I was actually asked to do a little work with and come in and talk to a UWL economics class. And one of the things we were talking about was like the economics of Latin America, and I kind of gave my view from my different experiences in Latin America. And we got into this discussion in the class, and one of the students asked me, he's like, so do you think that Cuba might be better off today because of the fact that it's a communist nation? And I'm like, that's a really interesting question that someone would ask. I mean, on the surface, you'd say absolutely no, right? I mean, there's a lot of negatives associated with the way the economy of Cuba is run. Forced, you know, forced riders for a lot of situations like rations and they control a lot of the invisible hand basically doesn't exist in Cuba. But it was interesting that I was like, well, I wonder if we compared a lot of these different, neighboring countries, neighboring Latin American countries, and what we found out is there's places where Cuba actually did as well or better than a lot of its neighbors, and even some places where it did as well or better than the U.S. It kind of got me started on this project and why I enjoy it so much. So here's what you're going to do with this project is you are going to take a look at 6 different countries, ideally two very controlled economies, 2 middle level government controlled economies, and 2 very free economies, and make some comparisons. You're going to look at numbers, and then the tough part is analyzing it. So what are you going to do? If you go to, so I'm giving you this, you can literally cut and paste this, but then put in your data. Don't use my same countries, use different countries, and then what you need to do is find 5 different criteria to compare them on. And there's a ton of criteria to compare them on. This is the point where kids could get lost. How do I find these statistics? Well, there's a ton on the Heritage website. Okay, the link is right here, heritage.org/index, and it's got a ton of things from property rights, fiscal freedom, labor freedom, etc. There's a ton of information here. So you can really look at like how free are any of these economies, how free is their market. And then the CIA website has a ton of additional really good information. What kind of things can we find on the CIA website? I have a list of them: GDP, GDP growth, GDP savings, type of products produced, labor statistics, Gini, which is the how unequal is the distribution of income. And so you can just kind of, you're trying to pick five good ones based on just kind of what you're looking for. You could pick any 5 and get started, then maybe if you want to change it, do that, but do the same one. So let's say you did budget. What is the total budget for all these countries? That could be a category. What's the Gini for all these countries that you chose? You can choose whichever country you want. What is the GDP growth? And then you're going to look at it and then try to draw some conclusions. So like, let's say you did this, let's say Guatemala, let's say for example, this was GDP growth and the US was at like 3% and Guatemala was at like 20% and then everybody else was at 1%. Okay? Well, why is that? Why is that? And we don't have the answers. We don't have time to like delve that deep into it, but just notice that and then maybe wonder why. Or maybe look at the Gini index and you find out that one country has really equal distribution of income and others have huge disparity in distribution of income. And then wonder why. Why is that? Or take a look at like the trade freedom index. What does that mean, first of all? And then why is one country higher and one country lower? So what I'm looking for very simply is that you get some numbers, you start to understand different types of economies in the world, you make your own list here, there's tons of statistics, and then you just draw some conclusions. Give me 10 conclusions, give me 10 or even questions you have. They don't even need to be conclusions, just questions you have. Just show me you're looking at this data and you're trying to make sense of it in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, this kind of stuff could be the work of a macro, like a high-level macroeconomist or microeconomist looking at different countries. I'm not looking for that level. I'm just looking for you to look at numbers and just understand that some countries have a high level of freedom, and some countries have a low level of freedom in the terms of their economy. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that made sense. Until next time.